Hi, my name is Attila Szantner, CEO and co-founder of a small Swiss company, Massively Multiplayer Online Science. Today I want to summarize the work we've been doing in citizen science for the last 5 years and highlight some of the design decisions that I believe made our project successful. Citizen science is when we invite the general public to participate in the scientific research process. Our innovation was to take citizen science microtasks and integrate them with AAA video games as a seamless gaming experience, integrating them with the narrative, the visuals, or the reward system. We created a series of minigames together with EVE Online that became known as Project Discovery and with Borderlands 3. This project named Borderlands Science was a milestone project in the sense that we showed that introducing citizen science is possible even in a classic shooter-looter game. Let me quickly highlight some of the important points of designing these games. First of all, it is interesting to learn what are the criteria for game developers to be able to work with a citizen science project. These projects has to have a real-world purpose or altruistic nature. Also, they have to be aesthetically fitting and thematically adaptable to fit the game universe. It was interesting to learn that tasks must take a consistent length of time to solve so that game designers can balance these features. And of course, research needs to require a high volume of tasks because simply players are tireless. The very first important point was narrative integration. It was an interesting process to balance two sides. On one side, we wanted to keep as much real-life scientific information as possible. On the other side, we couldn't risk breaking immersion, and we had to adapt the content to fit the narrative. Finally, we ended up deeply intertwined with the lore of EVE Online. And this narrative integration even materialized in the EVE universe. This monument was created in-game after we finished the first Project Discovery to commemorate the efforts of players. Another important element is the reward system. From the beginning, we knew that we didn't want to make this feature too lucrative to avoid hacking or any sort of abuse of the system. Also, it is important that intrinsic motivation is the primary drive of players as opposed to extrinsic rewards like points or in-game currency. But nonetheless, we wanted to thank players for their contribution. So we introduced cosmetic items like the Sisters of Eve combat suit. This was the ultimate reward for the first Project Discovery. Game designers estimated to hand out the first ones in about 3 weeks. Now, the very first one was handed out in 17 hours after launch, and the second 6 minutes later. That's how tireless players can be. In later games, we introduced more cosmetic rewards, like these cool spaceship skins. As I was saying, when we integrate real life in our games, one thing we don't want is to break immersion. So fitting the project aesthetically is of utmost importance. This means two things. Find scientific material that fits well with the game as it is, or to find scientific material that is flexible to visualize like pure data. The other side of it is the UI. The UI has to be done by the game's UX designers and has to fit with the game in the smallest details so that it is perceived to be an authentic part of the game universe. Epic mission is what we always seek. It is the empowering experience that we're doing something of greater importance. When embracing real content, we are actually in quite a lucky situation. Can you imagine something more epic that you can offer to your players than to discover new scientific knowledge, to find a new planet, or to help discover the cure for COVID-19? Part of this effort was to bring lead scientists into the game. So we introduced Professor Meyer, an avatar of Michel Meyer in-game. Michel Meyer is the researcher who discovered the first exoplanet. These contextual elements, I do believe, added a lot to the project. And finally, communicating with the community. This is key. Both the researchers, game developers, and us communicated with players actively. We gave talks, went to player events, talked to players at forums, and set up Reddit AMAs. This photo was taken at the first ever Citizen Science Live tournament at EVE FanFest, the big annual player convention at EVE Online in Reykjavik. 2 years ago at FanFest, we had the honor to welcome Michel Meyer in person. As I already mentioned, he was the one who discovered the first exoplanet and received the Nobel Prize for this achievement. The fact that he came to Reykjavik and talked to players about exoplanets is in itself a very strong message. I really like this photo, which was published in Ars Technica. Here Michel Meyer is talking to one of the EVE players, Max Singularity, also known as the Space Pope, who is always cosplaying the whole FanFest, and in real life he works for NASA Jet Propulsion's lab. This is a recording of Michel Meyer's presentation. Here are some emotionally charged comments under the YouTube video, and it really nicely reflects how players have received and welcomed this feature. I hope I could give you some insights about integrating citizen science with games. Good luck, and have lots of fun with the Game Jam.